Hello and welcome to the Poe-Cast. I'm Benjamin.
And I am Christopher.
And today we're going to be talking about something we really should have talked about a little while ago, considering how big of fans we are of this subject.
Yes, we're going to have a couple of different topics.
Well, a couple, yeah. But the main thing we're going to talk about is Star Wars.
Star Wars, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Da 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 da.
Dun dun dun.
We actually really consider ourselves hardcore Star Wars fans, but we have never really stopped and talked about it on the Poe-Cast until now.
Well, granted, this is like episode 3.
Okay. And I just feel like we should talk about
do
it within the first 5 episodes.
Gangster Jar Jar.
Oh, the gangster Jar Jar man, yeah. What was the first line in the DC series? This was a longer time ago, yeah. Where was it? Get out of the way! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh! Yeah. You almost got us killed, you brainless. I speak.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent. Now get out of here.
No, Misa stay. Misa called Jar Jar Binks. Misa, your humble servant. No. What's the word I'm looking for?
Offense?
No offense meant by this at all. This was just a joke we were doing on the phone, and we thought you guys would enjoy it.
Okay, see, I think I have found the voice of what Gangster Jar Jar should be.
The voice of Gangster Jar Jar. Tell me the voice
of Gangster Jar Jar.
Tell me the voice of Gangster Jar Jar.
You've seen The Incredibles.
Oh no! I speak!
Frozone Man!
Frozone Man!
Okay, now I've got to ask you, that's Sam Jackson, isn't it?
That is Sam Jackson.
That's Sam Jackson!
Honey, where's my super suit? Where is my super suit? I love that line so much. I put it away. Where are you come down? I can't. The city's being destroyed, woman.
My evening is being destroyed!
But he was. The Gangster Jar Jar.
Isn't this so perfect? Wouldn't this make Jar Jar like 100 billion times
better? Actually, if Jar Jar. Forgive my French, ladies and gentlemen. If Jar Jar was a gangster badass like Samuel L. Jackson, yes.
He could even be a bumbling gangster.
If he was a bumbling gangster, it'd be even funnier because he's like, I'm cool. Tumbles down the stairs. I totally meant to do that. I'm under control.
I tell you, one of these days, we are actually going to do this. We are going to sit down.
We can do a voice dub of one of the scenes. I'll do my best Frozen.
No, we're going to... Okay, we are going to do a voice dub of all 6 movies.
Oh my gosh.
And now, here's what I am planning on doing. We're not going to redo the voices that are in English. But we are going... I've already talked to you about this.
You've talked to me about this. I'm just
We're going to be doing Gangsta Jar Jar and all of the characters who don't speak in English,
such as R2-D2,
and Chewbacca. We're gonna give you and Jabba the Hutt
and Jabba the
Greedo.
Yeah.
We're gonna be giving you a dub of the film where everybody's dialogue is in English.
And since
just
there's
imagine
no actual dialogue for Chewbacca and R2-D2. We can say whatever the flip we want.
I just have to tell you, this will be an explicit version of the podcast because R2, if you know the guy, he has a very, very dirty mouth.
He is a sailor.
He is a sailor.
He has the mouth of a sailor.
Yeah. We are warning you now.
And if anyone ever saw the comedy duo of Bud Abbott and Lou Costello, fun fact, have you seen any of his stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Lou Costello had the mouth of a sailor. There was actually...
You told me this story.
There was actually one recorded incident where they were doing their famous Who's on First routine, and at the end of the routine, he's like, hey, who's on first? What's on second? I don't know who's on third, and I don't give a darn. They were performing in front of a bunch of soldiers, and he slipped and said the other word on that night. Led to it was the most hysterical thing that everyone laughed at. I think there's a YouTube clip out there somewhere.
You've seen it, so you've
I know
heard
I
it.
haven't seen it, actually.
I saw a meme a few days ago, and it was perfect. It said, You may be BA, but you will never be so BA that you'll have your own theme song that plays every time you enter the screen. And it showed a picture of Darth Vader stepping onto the Tantive 4 with all the stormtroopers. And I was like, yes.
Though actually he didn't get the Imperial March until Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, but still, you know.
I mean, that's his big entrance.
That's his big entrance, but yeah.
All right.
My roommate, I don't think I've told you this. He got an internship at Disney, or kind of an internship. He's working at Disney for 7 months, and I'd just like to make a shout out to him about that. He knows who he is if he listens, which he probably won't be listening. And I'd also like to make a shout out to another friend of mine, fellow classmate. She will be working at Disney this fall. She'll be auditioning to perform there sometime next month, I think. So shout out to both of them.
Where are they working?
I think it's Disneyland in Florida.
Okay, so
yeah. Shout out to both of them. Congrats, guys.
So that's in Orlando. So that'll be where the Star Wars weekends happen.
Yeah,
Yes.
but he needs to get me in there.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Congratulations to you two for your Disney endeavors and successes.
Yay!
Yay!
Go be awesome in Disney Star Wars weekends. Maybe you'll get interviewed by some of the Star Wars media people.
Maybe the cool Star Wars people. Oh man, if you get to meet Mark Hamill. If you guys meet Mark Hamill or Harrison Ford or Carrie Fisher before I do, I'm gonna be very upset.
Actually, there's a better chance that they will meet Peter Mayhew and Jeremy Bulloch.
Yeah.
Or like Ray Park.
Or Kenny Baker. Kenny Baker?
Does Kenny Baker come to Star Wars weekends? I know.
Sometimes. Actually, no.
What's his name? Oh, the kid.
The kid.
Boba Fett. Who's
Warwick?
No, not Warwick Davis. That's
Warwick
Wicket.
Davis. But he makes a lot more
He makes a lot of appearances. Warwick Davis is an awesome person. What's the kid? The Boba Fett, young Boba Fett in episode 2.
Oh, I don't remember his name.
Tamara.
It'd be cool to meet Tamara Morrison.
Yeah, but
Tamara Morrison was
what's his
Jango
name?
Fett.
I need to know his name.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head. We'll post it when we remember it. Or
I am so sorry.
When we look it up.
I'm so sorry because you're one of the coolest guys ever, and I completely blanked on your name. I feel like the most terrible
This
person.
is probably going to be
right
like a 45-minute episode, but that's okay.
I don't care.
So, Mandalorians. I think I'll talk about
Mandalorians.
I'll talk about my favorite race in Star Wars. So if we ever talk about Star Wars instead of Orc time, it'll be Mandalorian time. No ridiculous song. It'll just be What's the road of Vodeon? We can play Vodeon. There we go. But Mandalorians. You know Boba Fett. Most people know Boba Fett and Jango Fett. They were Mandalorians. Boba Fett less so, but still. That's what Mandalorians look like. They wear that typical armor. If you watch the cartoon series, they actually kind of tap on the Mandalorians, which made me so stinking happy. Mandalorians are warriors. They're pretty much warriors for hire. They understand that their lives will be short. They are very family-based. They're very trustworthy. If a Mandalorian gives you his word, you can count on it and take it to the grave with you. Pretty much. If he gives his word that he will keep your son safe, even if he's fighting the faction against your son, he will keep your son safe somehow, to the best of his ability. So, stuff like that. They're really cool. And there was a really good book series at the time, before the author, in my opinion, I will say this right now, in my and Christopher's opinion, became a nasty witch with a capital B and went on a personal vendetta against the Jedi, Karen Travis. She had a really cool book series about the Republic Commandos.
She's a very good
writer.
She's a very good writer. Unfortunately, in all her books, she seems to
have a vendetta
against people because there's she did the same thing, and maybe she did the same thing in the Halo books.
I haven't seen her Halo books,
and I will have to see what her third Halo book is like. But she also kind of did the whole vendetta against Catherine Halsey.
Yeah.
Granted, that makes sense, but I wish they didn't let her touch Halsey.
Yeah.
I don't think that she is.
Not to mention, she killed off Mara Jade. And I think, if I remember right, you said Timothy Zahn wasn't happy about that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it was.
Granted,
it was a really.
I have to say this.
Much
as big of a Star Wars fan that I am not interested in about 90% of the post Return of the Jedi fiction.
I like some of it. I'm more interested in the pre stuff and between the Clone Wars. That's kind of my era.
Yep.
But I do enjoy some of the post stuff.
Yeah. I mean, mainly the Yuzan Vong War.
Yuzan Vong War is a little sketchy for me.
Not only that, but then
they're icky. They're very icky.
Yeah, but then you get like the stuff with the sun turning to the dark side.
Yeah, Jason turning the dark side, that wasn't fun.
Just
Ben Skywalker is cool because we share a similar name. But
hey, I'm totally fine with that.
Yuzan Vong, who or no, wait. I had a blank out because I thought about the character Ben Skywalker and his mother Mara Jade and her death, and then I had to stop and link in my brain if Karen Traviss wrote a book before her son was born or after her son was born. But I think it was after her son was born. I don't remember because sometimes
I thought the only non-Clone Wars books she wrote were those Legacy of the Force.
There were, but sometimes in some of the post Jedi stuff, there's some some stuff that doesn't get linked up, and you're kind of like, what? When did this happen? You have to realize it's different people's books. We can edit all that out. What was I saying?
Keep that.
Okay, Yuzan Vong. For anyone who doesn't know, they came around about 60 years after Episode 6. Does that sound right? No, probably more like 20 or 30.
Because
they came around
because the youngest
18,
Solo was
18 years. 20 years.
Yeah, because they were like 15-ish.
Yeah, so 18, 20-ish years after.
See, because I thought that Jason and Jaina were born about 4 or 5 years after.
Okay.
After the destruction of the second Death Star.
Okay. Yuzan Vong are really creepy. They worship pain. They believe you should always be in pain. It's a thing to be worshipped, and they always sacrifice an organ to their god, who is their god of death and pain and stuff. It's really creepy. So you'll see some Yuzan Vong without eyes or without an arm. Well, it's not an organ, or body part, without an arm, and they usually replace it with something with their organic technology. They detest any normal technology. They use all biological stuff. So their armor is literally living crabs that burrow into their skin. It's really nasty, icky. And their ships are alive and organic. The way they breathe in space is the phlegm that their living spaceship gives them. It's really weird. But
I've got to say, I'm really not a huge fan of a lot of Sith stuff and the post-Jedi stuff like the Yuzan Vong.
I like the Sith stuff. I don't.
Well, there's some Sith stuff that I'm not. I mean, how much of the way back in the past stuff have you read?
I haven't read that much.
Okay, some of it gets a bit.
But that's because they're Sith. Sith are dark side. If you're reading stuff about the Sith, you're lining yourself up for a lot of dark stuff. I mean, it's dark side after all. Well, it's dark side.
Okay.
But yeah, Yuzan Vong are creepy, nasty, gross. If I remember right, you can't sense them in the Force because they don't exist in the Force. They don't. So pretty much, a bunch of boxes sitting around Yuzan Vong. Someone Force pushes them. All the boxes go flying away. The Yuzan Vong just kind of stands there like, what happened? Not even like a gust of wind touches. Not even nothing at all.
See, that's where it gets a bit sketchy because if you hurl a physical object at them, shouldn't the physical object?
Well, yeah, the physical object will, but I'm just saying, like, if he's standing next to a pile of boxes.
Right. Okay.
And yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's Yuzan Vong. Creepy, slightly cool sometimes. If you ever read Expanded Universe, you'll know why they're slightly cool sometimes, but not all the time.
Yeah,
like Darth Krayt, he's an example of cool stuff that happens with Yuzan Vong getting mixed in.
Yes. Darth Krayt. The comics
he's my third.
The comics actually tend to be slightly better.
He's my third. He's about my. He's either.
Then the novels.
He's my second or third favorite Sith Lord.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Should I explain about him now, or say that for another one?
Darth Krayt, go ahead.
Darth Krayt was okay. He's a Shah-Rad Het. He was a son of Shah-Rad Het. Shah-Rad Het was a Jedi Knight who decided the Jedi were getting too involved in politics. This is way before the Clone Wars, and he left the Jedi Order. Somehow got captured by Tusken Raiders on Tatooine, and after surviving for about a year as their prisoner, they accepted him as a Tusken Raider and turned him into a Tusken Raider. So he had a son, a Shot Red Hat, who he trained to be a Tusken and a hunter, and also trained to be a Jedi. Eventually, a bounty hunter was sent to kill Shot Red Hat. Ki-Adi-Mundi, the tall cone-headed guy, went to save Shot Red Hat because he was an old friend, and he ended up running into his son, a Shot Red Hat. Needless to say, after the bounty hunter tipped off some Hutt's cartel to where the Tuskens were in the crossfire, Shah-Rad was killed, and he told a Shah-Rad Hat to listen to whatever Ki-Adi-Mundi said. A Shah-Rad Hat took his father's lightsaber, and now a dual lightsaber-wielding Tusken Raider who's for the Jedi Order. He joins the Jedi, and we don't hear from for quite a while. Then Anakin Skywalker is in a big battle, and he ends up having to team up with a Shah-Rad Hat, who is a Tusken Raider who Anakin hates Tusken Raiders. After a bunch of different standoffs, Anakin almost kills him, almost after going insane. He realizes Shah-Rad does the first thing he's ever done. He shows his face to the first human being ever. Anakin is the first, not even his father or his mother saw his face. And of course, he's just a normal human. Really cool tattoos, really cool scar.
Yeah.
And he decides to never wear his mask, not wear his mask again. Order 66 happens. A lot of stuff goes down. A Shah-Rad Hat runs back to Tatooine and dons the Tusken Raider garb once more. Long story short, he tries to attack the Lars homestead to kill Anakin Skywalker. Obi-Wan does a standoff, challenges him to a duel. He loses his arm, and because he loses his arm, it's the greatest dishonor ever to any Tusken Raider, so all the Tuskens walk off and leave him. He had an entire army, they ditch him. A Shah-Rad Hat turns to bounty hunting to survive, gets a cool cybernetic replacement. He ends up hunting this guy in the Sith world Korriban. He gets stuck in a tomb, comes out. It's about 50 years later, 20 or 30 years later. He gets captured by Yuuzhan Vong. They torture him. They rip off his arm. They give him a bio-arm, and they rip it out his eye, etc. He ends up escaping again. He gets put into stasis for almost hundreds and hundreds of years.
Well,
Eventually becoming Darth.
About 100 to 200.
100
years. I think.
100 to 200 years. And
I think it's 140.
Due to different Yuuzhan Vong experiments, he has coral growth coming out of him, which he uses the Force to form it into armor. He makes his new lightsabers form with that coral stuff. He gets a new cybernetic eye. To replace the eye that Yuuzhan Vong ripped out, he gets a new cybernetic arm. And actually, no, he keeps the arm, doesn't he? He does keep the arm. And eventually, he becomes known as Darth Krayt, which in Tatooine lore, Krayt dragons are native to Tatooine, so that's kind of some cool history that's linked together. And his whole stories in the comics and books are really cool.
Yeah.
If you get the chance to read Legacy, is it the Legacy?
Star Wars Legacy.
Star Wars Legacy, following the adventures of Cade Skywalker. Read that.
Cade Skywalker is your classic anti-hero.
He is. He's the Jedi who does not want to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. He's literally a smuggler.
Skywalker. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a follow-up to Star Wars Legacy, which I think follows a Solo.
Yes, there is. I almost bought that comic before I left.
Unfortunately, I am like a year or two behind on my comics reading. It's terrible.
You want to know why I almost bought that? Her Wookiee, I'll call him Wookiee Companion. Her Wookiee Companion is a Mon Calamari. Yeah.
Okay, her companion is a Mon Calamari.
Yes.
That's cool.
Mon Calamari. It's a trap! Admiral Akbar. I used to play as a Mon Calamari in Star Wars Galaxies.
Mon Calamari are cool.
Mon Calamari are cool. He was a bounty hunter.
Did you ever get a chance to read the novelization of The Force Unleashed 2?
Yes.
You remember then that a certain Mon Calamari shows up in that that didn't get a chance to show up in the game.
Yes.
I love how they threaded in what's her name's story. I've forgotten her name.
Oh gosh,
This
Juno
is terrible.
Eclipse?
Juno Eclipse, yes.
Yes.
Juno's story.
Yep. Also, our favorite, the main character, Star Killer, and one of our favorite actors, Sam Witwer. Shout out to Sam Witwer. At least I am probably one of your biggest fans.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
shout out to you if you happen to listen to this.
Hey, that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Shoot us an email if you listen to it, please. Fanboys. Also, a movie you guys should watch. Viewer discretion is advised, but Fanboys is a really good movie about Star Wars fans.
It's a bittersweet movie, and
It's a bittersweet movie, but
Benjamin,
whenever people ask me why I have a vendetta against Star Trek, I tell them to watch Fanboys. And the 2 or 3 people who have, they come back and they're like, oh. And I'm like, yep. Stop snickering. What was it you were going to say? I'm sorry I cut you off.
Oh, I was going to say Sam Witwer should be in Fanboys, too.
He should.
Anyway, Fanboys is a really bittersweet film because it follows basically, it's a bunch of Star Wars
They're 4
fans.
best friends.
They're 4 best friends.
Only one of them grew up.
One of them grew up, but he grew up. He lost that childhood
He lost
wonder.
the child, yeah.
And the 4 of them, what the grown-up one realizes is that his best friend... This is just before Episode 1 is about to come out. So
the story is based, yeah.
It's like 1998. They're counting down the days. And the grown-up one finds out that his best friend has cancer, is going to die.
Before the movie comes out. Even though that's not important of the story, but he just realized that his friend's going to die.
Yeah. What they decide to do is basically road trip and break into Skywalker Ranch. Get the cut of the film
and watch it.
And yeah, I'm gonna spoil it. But what happens?
He dies.
Is the guy who has cancer. He gets to watch it early
by himself.
His
friends aren't allowed in.
Nobody else is in this theater, and he watches it, and it's just. I'm getting chills because it is so well done.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing that they handled really well was all the cameos.
Even the William Shatner cameo was great.
The best part about the William Shatner cameo is because he was helping, quote unquote, sabotage Star Trek as much as Star Wars. They're pretty much like, we gotta contact William Shatner walks in. They're like, what are you doing here? He's like, here's the access codes and blah, blah, blah. They're like, why are you helping us? It turns in really melodramatic.
I'm William Shatner. I can score anything.
Exactly.
And they basically have a 5-minute scene of can you score this? Anything. Can you score this? Yep. Can you score this? Anything. And this? Anything.
And Billy D. Williams shows up as a used cars salesman or something.
Wait, he was a judge.
No, he was a judge. What am I saying? Yeah, he was a judge. But it was so stinking funny. Carrie Fisher's cameo.
Carrie Fisher showed up as Carrie Fisher.
Was she? I thought she was a nurse.
No, she was Carrie Fisher. No, that was actually. I believe that she was actually playing herself because they.
I thought she was a nurse.
I love you. I know.
And then he kissed her and is like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So yeah, there is some kind of crude humor in the movie, but
there is really, some crude humor.
Really,
it's actually a really good movie.
For the ending.
For all of it. I'm sorry, all of it.
Well, that ending is...
Well, the guy with all the Star Wars tattoos, that scene's a little... but yeah, that's another story. That's the viewer disclaimer part. Disclaimer.
Well, no, the real The
R2 jokes?
No, it's the... Okay, the R2 jokes are bad, but but the real scene that I'm thinking about is the interrogation to prove that they're real hardcore Star Wars fans. He's remembering now.
Yes, that was funny. And also, it was also cool.
But yeah.
Also, I liked their cameo for Ray Park, right? Darth Maul. Not Ray Park. What am I saying? The guy who plays Darth Maul.
Yeah, that's Ray Park.
That's Ray Park. Yeah, his cameo. His cameo was
he
cool.
had a cameo?
Yeah!
I completely forgot that.
He was the chief of security guard who pulled out the night batons and did all the cool flippity-flip-flip stuff.
Yes, he was! I forgot about that!
Pretty much, they get the guard, and the guard, pretty much everyone's your normal security guard. Oh, I'm not going to do the spoiler alert. I don't want to do. And then all of a sudden, Ray Park just kind of walks in. He's the militaristic one who takes his job seriously, and in this one case, it actually turns out to be well done. And they get into the fans get in the Star Wars room. They see the blaster that Han Solo actually had, the literal costumes that they wore. And all of a sudden,
that's all real.
And it's all
that
real.
Is real.
As soon as they pulled that, I had geekasms. I was literally, I was watching with my friends, they paused it. waited for about 2 minutes, and they looked at me, they're like, are you done yet? And I'm like, no, I'm just going to geek out when it goes to the next cut of what's in that room, because that's Skywalker Ranch! But then Ray Park comes in, and he's just like, oh, extendable nightsticks, and he flips them out, and he does all these cool little black belt taekwondo, wow! Not yelling, doing all flips and stuff, and you're just like, oh, yeah. And then any true nerds are like, that's the guy who's going to play Darth Maul! It was really cool.
Well, did play Darth Maul.
Well, did play. Because that came out before episode 1, didn't it?
Fanboys?
Yeah.
No. Fanboys was made
A couple years after.
same year that the Clone Wars movie started.
Oh, okay.
So very, very same year. So that's what?
2002.
5 years ago?
Yeah. Yes.
2007, 2008.
2007, 2008. Whatever.
Because
Time is not relevant to me anymore.
1999 was when
Episode 1.
Episode 1 came out. 2002 was
2.
Episode 2, which was the first movie I saw in theaters and the first Star Wars movie I saw in theaters.
I still hold Empire Strikes Back as my first movie I saw in theaters.
Do you actually have memories of it?
Yes. The AT-AT Walkers.
Okay, fine.
I'm sorry. That is a pretty memorable picture right there. 3 walkers just going...
Yeah.
Now, granted, that's all I remember, and the couple tall people in front of me kind of looking up at it as a small child, but it was awesome!
I can just imagine you as a small child. Oh!
Fidget, 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 fidget. Oh, space scene. Fidget, 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 fidget. Oh, shooting. Explosions. So, I saw a very interesting fan film today, Christopher.
Okay.
Now, I will say this, anyone who's planning on playing the game, which I cannot remember the title of other than it's the new Lara Croft game, this might contain spoilers. So if you happen to be listening to this and want to, which I highly doubt, because I don't know if many of our people who listen know this, or if you just don't want to be spoiled at all, stop listening right now. It's a Lara Croft Tomb Raider, her origin story. They made a video game which was going to explain her origin story, and this was, I think, one of the most amazing ways to tell. Now, granted, the fan film. Now, anyone who does know what's going on can chastise me if I'm misread information.
Right.
But the fan film is an adaptation of the new video game.
Okay.
Which, Lara Croft, if anyone knows her, and this is once again my embellishment, not really knowing about her, but assuming what I know about her.
Right.
It was an interesting video game. I think I remember playing one of the games a little bit.
Okay.
But Lara Croft was a tomb hunter. Lara Croft Tomb Raider. And over years, the graphics got better, and the game developers started realizing, hey, they don't just want to see this misproportionate girl playing, as your avatar. They actually want to hear the cool stories and stuff. So they started making more stories. And then they decided, hey, since we ran out of stuff to talk about, let's go back and tell her origin story, since everyone just knows her family died.
Right. That's cool.
And they went back and they made the origin story, and this fan film dealt with that. Really cool. Not much going to spoil it, other than at the end, she's going in to rescue... The main character, the girl, is going in to rescue her sister. And
Laura.
Laura,
Yes.
well, that's the interesting thing. We assume it's Laura the entire game. And she goes in and she rescues her sister. And she goes in, she ends up killing all these guys with her bow and her ice pick and picking up guns and fight. She gets in this really intense fight. And by the way, these stunts, as I will say, quote, Lucas McCoy, who posted the video and I watched it, they gave their stunts 110%. If anything, to watch this video, the stunts were amazing for it being such a low-budget fan film. Now, if you don't like hearing the sound of bones crunching and blood, then don't watch it. But it was a good video, especially how Laura fought in the one video. Oh my gosh. She pretty much pretended like she was beaten, and then used the guy who was beating her up, thinking he had won, used that as her advantage to beat him up further. But anyway, I am rambling. She rescues her sister, and then she tells her sister to hide. She ends up fighting some guys. She turns around, the main villain has her sister. And After a long standoff and he tries to throw her sister off the cliff, she grabs her sister, yanks her back, and gets shot straight to the heart. Christopher's making his eyes kind of bugged out. Which kind of shocked. I was kind of crying a little bit because it was actually really good for not so much dialogue and mostly fighting. Well, I won't say crying. I was tearing up. But big tussle with the guy. He goes to kill her sister. She jumps up again, being shot through the heart, or actually through the stomach, but still charges him, grabs him, and jumps off the cliff with him. Which the sister runs bawling and looks over the side, and there's her sister's broken body and the villain's broken body down there. And I'm sitting here thinking, this is the prequel. What's with them killing off Laura? Made the call. Okay, she's not going to be that hurt. They're just going to drag her back and blah blah, because it was just a gut shot after all. And the helicopter lands. This helicopter gets flagged down by her sister, and her sister's out there waving it down. The helicopter lands. The guy walks up and he's like, "Oh, are you alone?" She goes, "Yes." At which point I'm like, "What? How could you make a fan film and kill off the main character in the prequel? That just doesn't work." And he's like, "Well, what's your name?" And the little girl's like, "Laura Croft." And it was in my mind, the most beautiful way to tell a story by origin, which you stop and think about it. Also in the video game, they never mentioned the main character's first name. The only thing that happened was her old mentor looked at it and he goes, "You're a Croft, you'll always pull through." Of course she looked like Laura Croft. She was her older stinking sister. And the entire game, you just assume you're Laura Croft. When she dies, everyone's like, "Me, what the heck is just going on? This is not how a prequel is." Oh. But still, amazing way to tell a story, in my opinion.
Oh, yes.
I mean, that is the first thing that has caught me off guard in a while. And I consider myself pretty good at calling movies.
Well, I think that is everything for this episode.
Yeah, so, anyways, we don't just do podcasts. We do podcasts. But anyways, check out our Facebook page. Give us a like at Facebook, the Poe-Cast with a hyphen between Poe and Cast.
Or email us or follow us on Twitter.
Yeah. What's our email again, just in case they don't know?
I have no idea. Where's our email?
It's thepocast2119@gmail.com. And we're also doing some spin-off episodes, as some people have probably seen. I'm doing video segments, which is called Boots Corner, and Christopher will probably be starting some of his own soon. And then,
yes,
of course,
hopefully.
there will be our collaborative efforts. So keep an eye out for those. So give us a like and subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe on YouTube to get every new episode.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm Benjamin.
And I'm Christopher.
And this is the Poe-Cast.
Good night.